Sup, Target shoppers! Welcome to Neverboard Gaming Channel. I'm Aaron.
I'm Wes.
We are taking a look at Megaland from Red Raven Games. It's a Target exclusive. That's why I said Sup, Target shopper. So Megaland is a pressure luck game in which you will be going on a dungeon delving journey with a group of friends, and at the beginning of every round you'll decide whether or not you'll collect a treasure, and then you get a treasure for starting the delve, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to continue on. We flip over a card. You take damage if there's damage on that card, and then everybody gets a treasure and decides if they want to keep going. And that's what you do. You just keep pressing your luck further and further on, trying not to die, because you only have a certain amount of health at the beginning, and you need to collect these items so that you can use them to buy either buildings, which will give you abilities, or buy hearts so you can have more health and actually delve deeper in later rounds.
And obviously, if you do die on that delve, you don't get to take any of the treasure back home with you. So that's why you want to survive, and you would want to jump out, because you're like, okay, I've got these 3 treasures, I can do that with it, I'm ready to jump out. Or like, I've got these, but I really need that, or I really need like one more to get this thing. So yeah, I'm going to press it one more.
They did a really good job in designing this and putting like a card counter on every player sheet, so you can go, okay, there's 3 cards in the deck that do no damage. There's 1 card that does 3 damage. There's 3 cards that do 1 damage. And by looking at this, you can kind of mitigate your odds, or at least like think about the odds of something happening. And it's really good for teaching kids how to, okay, well, you see that 2 of the 1 damage cards are out already in play. We know that there's, still a 2, a 1, and a 3 in there. You have 3 health. Do you want to press your luck? Do you want to keep going? Because if that number 3 monster comes out and does that 3 damage to you, you just lost everything. So it's a very good for teaching people how to think about probabilities.
Yeah, and it's not a big deck. There's only 10 cards in the delve deck, so it's really easy to do that quick math of like, okay, there's 6 cards left, 2 of those could kill me, I've got a 33% chance of dying.
All these treasures you're collecting are part of a major set. There's a limited amount of each type in the deck, and that is actually represented on the card itself. So if you were to pick up this gem, you can see a little 10 up in the corner, and that means there's 10 of those gems in the entire deck. So you know that it's kind of rare. There's some that, like the carrots have 30 carrots in the deck. And as you collect these, you can kind of see, the rarity of them and the chance of you actually getting multiples of them. When you're buying buildings, you want to have unique cards. So getting more unique cards will allow you to buy more expensive buildings. But having complete sets of matching cards will actually let you buy more hearts. So if you're trying to buy your 6th heart, it's going to cost you 3 of the same cards. So you're not going to want to try and buy that with gears, which there's only 6 gears in the deck. If you're going to spend 3 gears to buy a heart, you're kind of giving up. I mean, if you got him, you got him, I guess. But the chances of you collecting, if you have 2 of these, don't hold your breath trying to collect a 3rd one to buy your heart. You're probably going to use it more for diversify and switch out and buy buildings. There's actually buildings that'll let you get an extra card at the end of the round, so that you can kind of look at the cards you have and then pick the ones you want to keep after you've left the dungeon.
And I do like the 1 card in the delve deck that's the Mad Rabbit. So carrots are the most abundant card in the deck. You're going to end up with tons and tons of carrots. But if you come across the rabbit, then you can discard 3 carrots to draw 3 other cards. And there's a good chance the rabbit's going to bite you while you're trading with him, because there is a wound on there unless you happen to jump over him. But that swapping things out is something that's not... You're never going to base your turn on it. You're never going to say, okay, my strategy is to get the rabbit this turn. But it's one of those things that when it comes up, it's like a fun little thing that happens.
You just mentioned the jump, which is actually kind of an advanced mechanic that is included in here that doesn't always have to be included. The buildings, when you actually set up the game, you select a certain amount of different values. So you don't always have to play the same buildings, which kind of changes game to game. By putting the cards in that give you the jumps, they allow you to jump possibly over monsters. So right before we delve into the next tunnel or next room, you go, okay, before we go, I'm going to jump in this room. So if there's a ground monster that has the little jump icon, so like the rabbit or the sludge monster, there's a chance that I will jump over them and not take any damage, which is really cool. It's another kind of like looking at the probabilities and going, okay, I know there's 3 monsters left.
Like 4 cards in the deck of 10, I think, have jump on them. And so depending on how many are out there, you can kind of, all right, what's the probability it's going to be a monster, and what's the probability that that monster is going to have a jump symbol on it?
So it just really makes you start counting cards and thinking about things a little deeper than you normally would. You know, going, okay, there's a probability this could happen. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to spend this token that I have, and hopefully I'll mitigate some damage, and I won't take any damage this round.
Yeah, the jumps are something that, like, I like where they were going with it. In the games that we played, they never really seemed all that useful, especially because the cards that you buy don't give you, like, a punishing jump. It's just like, you buy the gym, you get 2 jumps. And that's it. And so you're like, you could spend them both on nothing, and then you're like, that was kind of a waste of card to buy. And there's not that many buildings that give you jumps, so you're probably going to get maybe 1 building in the game that has jumps, or maybe 2 buildings out there if you really want to push them. It's not something that, like, I hated. It wasn't something that I was, like, mad at the game for including, because if you don't like it, you just buy something else, because the only reason you would buy a card with jump on it is to get the jumps. It's not like, oh, this does this, and I guess I get some jumps with it too. So it's definitely something that if you don't care about, you can just avoid and not worry about. But those few times in the game where you're like, oh my gosh, I need 1 more card, and if I get 1 more damage, I'm going to die, I'm going to jump. And then, like, it works out. Like, then you're like, this is the best mechanic ever!
And I kind of feel like that's what they're aiming for in this game. It's all about experiencing things. It's about, you know, just kind of having the storytelling aspect in a way. Like, that's what the Red Raven games are famous for. They're having lots of, like, character and story. And this is a story without words, kind of. Like, you know, you're going in and diving, but, you know, diving down into this dungeon. But you're going to have those experiences where, like, oh, remember when you played that jump and you jumped over that 3 damage monster? Like, that was awesome. Like, you're going to have a lot of fun with your family, you know, pressing your luck and seeing who can get the most victory points.
I think Aaron's right. It is a very easily accessible game, which is why I think Red Raven had this one as a Target exclusive, because the people who may not be going into game stores and looking for Islebound or Empire of the Void 2 or any of these, like, bigger games, they're going to see this and be like, oh, that's cool artwork, let me check it out. And this could be their, like, entrance into, like, oh, this is cool. Oh, these other games above and below, that's interesting. That looks like this game. Maybe I should get it. What's this underneath the insert? Promo cards for above and below? Whoa! You could get these. They're in the game. There's 4 awesome promo cards. So I think that's kind of why Red Raven went Target exclusive. I think that there are some people or some game stores that may not look too kindly on that, because obviously your local game store is not a huge fan of you going to Target to buy games, or Amazon or any of those other big places. But there's also that balance of, like, the people who are never going to go to a game store are going to find this game and say, oh, this is a little different. The artwork's cool. There's other games from this company. Maybe I should check those out.
This could be somebody's intro into modern board gaming. Instead of playing Monopoly over and over, if, you know, this is sitting right next to it, they might choose this. Be like, oh, Megaland. Like you said, the artwork looks cool. Let's check it out. And I think this does a really good job of showing new people into the gaming industry what board games have to offer. Like, having these token trays, like, it has a nice built-in insert in it right off the bat, so you can keep everything organized. And yes, you can't fit your cards in there sleeved.
A few of them can.
Yeah.
Some of the cards can, some of them can't.
But that's just for, you know, people like, you know, us that have been playing lots of games that like to sleeve all their cards are going to want that. So you might have to, like, discard part of your insert and make your own, or get a custom one made. But having this and having this token tray in a game right off the bat is awesome. Like, it definitely helps everyone keep your game organized. And it's not like, you know, when you open up your Clue or Payday or any of those old games and you're like, oh, everything's just, it's in there. And, you know, you're not dealing with paper money. You're actually dealing with cards. You're actually dealing with tokens. Like, this is a very good intro game. And being that it's a pressure luck game, I feel like it works really well as an intro game as well.
And I feel like with Press Your Luck games, if someone like starts crushing it or someone's not doing very well, I feel like as a rule, games that are really heavy press your luck have that almost like, well, don't worry about it. It's luck. Like, it's not because you suck that you're losing right now. It's just like kind of luck of the draw, and he chose poorly or you chose poorly and he happened to choose well. So like, don't worry about it. It'll be over soon. We can do it again. And also with it being an intro into modern board gaming, like a lot of Ryan Lockett's game, Ryan Lockett, that has a lot of aspects that you'll see in other games. Like this whole like buying buildings and kind of building your engine of different buildings in your little city is something you see in Above and Below and Islebound, some of his other games. And then like, you know, the artwork is something that kind of carries throughout. And things like that, they'll play it in this game, they'll like this game and play something else and recognize it. So if you guys can't tell, I definitely think that Megaland is, I'm going to call it an ambassador game. The reason this game exists is to introduce people who only shop for games at big box stores into the world of gaming, and more specifically into Red Raven games. But I think they're kind of doing a favor for everyone, all the game designers out there. I don't think it's Ryan's best game ever, by a long shot. I don't think it's a bad game at all. I had fun playing it. It's one of those like family games, but I'm not like, I would never play it with these guys again. Like, I'd play it with them again. It would be the game that we would go to just because we want something a little bit heavier. But if we have like, you know, we're hanging out with Emily and Rachel, or we have new people over, I definitely had fun with this and I'm excited to play it again. But I don't think it's a game that they made targeting hardcore gamers, or even just targeting, all right, we're just going to try to make a cash grab and we're going to make a game that's just going to get us a bunch of money at Target. I do think that this is a game that has a mission behind it.
If you choose to accept. I think Megaland packs a lot in its box for $25. I think this is a great value for a family who's looking for a game that kind of teaches you how to, you know, count numbers and like think about things a little deeper and strategize a little more. Even though the base of the game, the crux of the game is pressing your luck, there still is, you know, looking at the reality of what your chances are and kind of balancing that with like, okay, I think I'm going to be lucky. I think I have a really good chance of going deeper, getting more resources, buying more things, and having the ultimate victory in this game. I think that this game will play, you know, very well with younger kids. I think that, you know, the production value is excellent. Like, getting these token trays is going to keep everything very organized for you guys. If you're on the fence about getting this game and you're wondering if you should get it, I think you should. I really enjoyed playing this. It's definitely not, you know, like a super heavy game. If you're a heavy gamer or you play a lot of games, this is not a game that you're probably going to break out a ton, but it's a good, you know, filler game, or, like I said, good for families, good for introducing people to this genre.
So if you're interested in checking this game out, you can head on down to your local Target, or we'll put a link to buy it in the description box down below.
Either way, you should subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
I do think that this game has a mission behind it. Dang,
if you choose to accept it.
Don't you guys think this guy looks exactly like Tom? Like, Ryan actually said he drew this guy based off of when he met Tom one time. Hey, I'm Tom. I'm Tom. I think I'm the best. Blah.